gentlemen, welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to what's probably going to be the last TERRAN Trade Authority video for a while until they come up with something new, but that's okay because it's been a fun run, and I almost want to say I saved the best for last, even though Space Rex was my favorite of the actual TERRAN Trade Authority big coffee table books, but this was my favorite of the Galactic Encounters books. The book called Space Patrol, again, about 65 pages, maybe, let's see, no page number on the last page, about 64 pages, and this one was a profile of law enforcement in the Federation. Space Rangers, Space Cadets, Space Cops, whatever you want to call them. They've got various branches and various duties, including one I thought there was an interesting chapter on Sea Force, because so many of the planets are going to have oceans and ocean-going vessels. I'll show you that one real quick, because it was a really neat little picture of a submarine that I thought was kind of fun. Sometimes something that's overlooked, but I think that it certainly has its place. I remember in I forget which Star Wars movie it was, on Camino, with the water world, that got my mind going, wondering what kind of cool stuff must be out there, what kind of terrifying, scary, Leviathan type monsters must be there as well. But right off the bat, for the most part, there are no actual characters, no people that are named to go along with these stories. It's mostly crimes and particular branches dealing with said crime. Interesting. This was kind of a cool picture. I'll give you an idea of some of the style of back in the day. His face is a little messed up because it's right there on where the two pages meet, but the detail and the way he's kind of like, looking at his fingernails like, I just shot somebody, no big deal. I got a hangnail, more important than that. It's just really, really kind of cool. But it starts off with the levels of training that the cadets must go through, not just physical and mental, but the actual downloading of up to 600 factoids an hour or a minute, I forget, one of the two, but either way, it's still a lot of information being pumped into the cadets' minds, in addition to the training, some of which they don't even realize it's actually training. They think they're on the job, but it's kind of carefully choreographed. Stress tests, and all of this can amount to over a decade of training before they're officially on the job, and that seems kind of extensive, especially considering what it takes to get your badge after the academy. Less than a year, you could be patrolling the busy streets of anywhere USA. I don't know what it's like outside the United States, but it's pretty minimal. These guys here in this fictional universe go through some absolutely extensive training, to the point that if someone, which is a rare thing, should someone fail to meet the criteria and they sort of wash out, they actually have their memories erased of certain information that they're not supposed to have outside Space Force, to such a degree that they're allowed to have like family members or people of their choosing to be there during the erasure process to make sure they don't forget math or something like that. All in all, a really good book with some more great, as you can see, I got bookmarks to show you off some of the pictures. This one was one of my favorites. I had to show it off, but it's not my favorite. My favorite was this one, that was a part of a chase scene, and unfortunately some of the pages of this book fallen out, so I have to be very, very careful with it. But this one right here, the scope, and There you go. Can you see that? It's this big flying saucer space patrol ship chasing after a bad guy. But it's just absolutely gorgeous. And it reminds me, or it reminded me of a conversation we were having on my show Saturday night, where we got into talking about AI art and, you know, some of the bad things about it. And I think one of the things it highlighted for me, especially also thinking about the God Wars videos that I made because of the God Wars game that you know, kind of fell apart because of some personal tragedies, not for me, but for my players, and I didn't want to go on without them. I will be picking that up as soon as I can get my household back in order to the point of doing that, but or at least hand out the prizes that we talked about. But that kind of quality artwork here, and I'm going to compare it to George's work for the God Wars, because it takes a lot to really blow me away when it comes to art either way. And these books did that back in the day, and ever since then I've been looking for the same quality in artwork. And, you know, I guess I should look elsewhere, because most of what I've seen lately in the past 10 years or so has been from the RPG community, and that's not always the best place. And even going back decades, the best of the best, who's that guy? Larry Elmore. I like his work, but I don't think I'd put it in the top 10 of things that I've ever seen. Some of the images in these books are closer to that. Of course, Frazetta and Vallejo Boris are way up there at the top. The limit that I've seen, there's just not been enough of those great artists. So seeing these images and going back to these stories and these books is made me wonder, what happened to all that? Did people get lazy, or is it just not as popular, so people aren't doing it anymore? Or can you guys recommend some other places, other coffee table books out there that I'm missing out on with great art to spark and fuel my imagination for the upcoming games and or stories I hope to write with the time that I've got left on this funny little planet of ours. But that's what I've got for you guys this morning. I will, of course, excuse me, be back in about 45 minutes for a live show where we could talk about some of these things. But again, these books are definitely worth having if you can find them intact without the pages falling out. Even so, if you pick them up for like $5 or $10 with the pages falling out, it might still be worth it, provided they've got all the pages, just to, like me, spark your imagination and just to be able to go through them and marvel at the great works of the past when it comes to science fiction and a little bit of fantasy, as you saw with Fantastic Planet. These were very, very fun. I wish they would have had a few more actual characters, but I guess that wasn't Stephen Caldwell's goal. It was more to document the world that he created. But it was such a vivid, fantastic, well-written world that it's a shame to see this was the last of it, or maybe there's more. But it ended without a movie, without a role-playing game of note, without a comic book, without a TV show. So much information, so much great stuff that is in a lot of ways better than the stuff we've gotten, and it can only be found in these books. So I guess I'll keep looking, keep reading, keep watching, keep hunting for more inspiration for my games and my stories. I hope you guys do the same thing. Hope you guys will be back tomorrow, where it'll be 2 for Tuesday. I've got a game tonight. Barrows of Borderlands. I'd love to see some Barrows of Borderlands Dying Earth kind of artwork. I think I'm going to go look for some of that before I hit the hay. It's late here. Had a busy weekend. I will see you guys real soon. But until then, happy trails.